In the movie's opening scene, Madeline and Michael engage in sexual activity while trying to envisage having a child. When they are finished, Madeline remains at their bed and muses over something. The setting. Then, a few months later, Michael's parents come over for supper. A pregnant Madeline is currently preparing a vegetarian meal for the family supper. Vivian, Michael's mother, advises Madeline to follow a healthy diet while pregnant after taking a look at the foods she... Hey guys, welcome to our channel Mystery Recaps. Today, we will recap a 2009 horror thriller movie named Grace. To know what happens later, keep on watching the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. She makes terrible comments about the meal while giving off the impression of being very dominant. Also, Vivian wants the pair to go see Dr. Richardson for their prenatal medications. As Vivian expresses dismay in Madeline's decision, Madeline explains that she has proactively chosen to see Patricia, a maternity specialist, for her healthy pregnancy. Madeline responds that Patricia is a good friend of hers and also the director of an independent facility. Madeline Michael visits Patricia's facility following their meal with the Guardians. Michael, though, is quite hesitant about the idea. He is compelled to enter and pay a visit by Madeline. They are welcomed by Shelley, Patricia's aide, as they get on the site. Soon after Patricia joins them and inquires about Madeline's well-being, she learns that they have previously considered conception twice and failed. She also tells Patricia that she has been on fertility medications for a very long time. Patricia answers Michael's question regarding her educational background in a way that is obviously trustworthy. Before the couple leaves, Patricia informs them that she has been practicing pregnancy conveyance for a very long time and is rather confident in her abilities. Patricia suggests Madeline take care of herself. In addition, the kid in the preceding scenario runs off to another location to answer his mother's call while the couple is dining. Madeline stoops down to ask Michael for assistance when she suddenly feels a severe ache in her chest. Overreacted, Michael decides to drive Madeline to the closest hospital and makes contact with an ambulance. They get to the medical facility quickly, and Madeline's therapy starts immediately away. Richard also arrives there after Vivian advised him to take such action. When Madeline sees him, she becomes furious. Also, he won't get any therapy in the meantime. Richard instructs the doctor to provide her with certain drugs so she can work indoors. Michael contacts Vivian after observing this and criticizes her for her display. Patricia was also made aware of Madeline's condition, and he urged her to contact the clinic as soon as possible. Once some time has passed, Patricia visits the urgent care facility and requests that the doctor halt prodding work. When the specialist ignores her, she makes it known that she is also credentialed for the position and is well versed in pregnancy-related issues. She also arranges for them to deliver her the reports they requested before starting work. Later, the reports surface and the experts release Madeline after giving her the usual care. The pair gets sidetracked and has a serious accident while returning home while joking around. Michael passes away right there, and Madeline is practically bursting at the seams with injuries. In the scenario that follows, she then asks Patricia for assistance. What do you think, can Patricia be trusted for this cause? Let us know in the comment section. In Patricia's center, Madeline is on her bed. Eventually, after further care and close observation, Patricia comes to the conclusion that Madeline's kid also perished in the accident. She carries on taking Madeline through a camera placed in a room. She lacks the courage to approach her and inform her of her tragedy. Patricia lets Madeline conduct his search without mentioning the kid's destruction to her. After observing her desperate attempts to keep the child and conceive a child in a typical way, but after her child's inconvenient destruction, Vivian starts acting strangely, and on certain days, Madeline's water breaks when she is looking through some toys in a store. She is immediately taken to Patricia's center, where a group of ladies assist her in removing her kite. To assist the procedure, Patricia operates the vehicle and drives Madeline to the bathroom. Madeline experiences excruciating pain while being transported, yet after much effort, the Parisian child is finally free. Everyone in the space is irritated by her, so they decide to let her have some alone time. A distraught Madeline pleads with her kid to come back since she is alone. Following Michael's failure, Patricia returns to Madeline after observing her feeding the dead baby through the webcam. Anyway, when she gets there, she immediately expresses disbelief at seeing the child alive. Madeline seemed to be having a great time nursing and informs Patricia that her kid is named Grace. The scene then changes to Madeline's house where she is caring for her little daughter. She is on the phone with her married mother, who has just suggested that she make an appointment with Dr. Richard. The same thing is also mentioned by Vivian. She must hold her grandchild in her arms and see her. She ends Vivian's call since Patricia is seeing Madeline in the meantime. In appreciation for Madeline's newborn, Patricia has sent her a few blooms. She also suggests that Madeline take Grace to a clinic for some testing. Nevertheless, Madeline immediately declines, saying that she doesn't require her pregnancy to be a case study in a clinical report. She only responds to that attractiveness. That's it. Regaining life is a miracle. Madeline's fear about her increases as the kid grows. One day, she tries to brush Grace's hair, but shuts down, taking out more hair than she intended to later that evening. She also notices a strange fly flying about Grace. She does her best to get the fly out of the room, but the next day she fails. In order to protect Grace from flies, she keeps a net around her. She also detects a foul odor of ease developing. After Madeline puts elegance in a container, she decides to take Grace for a shower. Also, it starts cleaning her right away. Madeline pulls her kid out of the water in fear and notices some scars on her skin as the water turns crimson. She then swiftly makes an assistance request to Patricia. Nevertheless, the call comes from the other end of the garden. Later, when there are more flies about Grace, Madeline is forced to hang more fly papers. She makes an effort to nurse her baby. Grace, however, appears to be unable to digest the breast milk, as a result of which she departs. But Vivian is so devastated by her child's passing that she accuses Madeline of being to blame for the accident. She wants to see the kid, but Madeline declines to pick her up. Cole had no other option than to go. She asks Dr. Richard to go to Madeline when she sees him. She also observes that he wants to examine her and compile a report declaring Madeline to be insane. The report will presumably be used by Vivian to take care of her grandchild. Madeline wakes up one night from a discomfort in her breasts. She looks to see whether there are any bloodstains near her breast. She makes an effort to look after Grace the next morning. In addition, she realizes that, rather than receiving breast milk, she is, overall, benefiting from her blood. When she visits a general store another time to get some staple foods, she undoubtedly knows Grace needs fresh blood, and her eyes scan a block of unappealing flesh. She frequently brings back uncooked meat. Despite being a vegetarian, she smashes the flesh to get the blood, which she then pours into a milk bottle. She then makes an effort to manage the blood to Grace, yet she chooses not to eat it. Surprisingly, Grace just seems to prefer fresh human blood to monster blood. Madeline is organizing the meat she brought the previous day the next day. When she is doing this, she notices a car outside her house, which gives her the impression that someone is watching her. The hidden agent gets exposed because they are real. After dealing with the meat, Patricia, as Madeline returns, Grace is sobbing and spitting up the monster blood she had earlier ingested. Madeline is compelled by this to continue, tending to Grace with her own blood via her breast. She also asks Patricia for assistance. Nevertheless, when she attends to her own blood to Grace, coldness answers the call and convinces her to believe that Patricia is still some distance away. She usually loses her strength and turns pale. Dr. Richard soon pays Madeline a visit. She does, however, load him. Madeline invites Richard inside since she is feeling dangerously weak and ill. Richard gives her a quick glance and warns her that she could be weak. At that time, he suggests that she hold off on nursing until she has fully recovered. In order to determine if the kid is receiving all the vitamins she needs, he also asks her to provide him with a sample of her breast milk. Richard is assisting Madeline as she attempts to steal some breast milk. Grace's strange crying gives him the impression that she is exhausted. Richard sprints higher in order to see Grace. Madeline makes an effort to halt him. Grace, however, overreacts when he gets close to her chamber, further wrecks him by hitting him with a glass bottle. Afterwards, Madeline takes Dr. Richard's body to the bathroom to clean it up. She unexpectedly has an idea and decides to care for Richard's new blood to Grace. Then, Madeline slashes into his flesh and starts to pour his trickling blood into the container. Vivian, who is aware of this, arrives to the door in the meantime and sounds the bell. Madeleine runs to the ground-level bathroom to complete the suppress. Vivian discovers the door open and decides how to go inside. She looks around the home and decides that it is in a chaotic state. When she tries to sneak up higher, Madeleine confronts her and leads her to the kitchen, explaining that Grace is exhausted and sleeping and is anxious to meet her granddaughter. Madeleine must give Vivian permission to see Grace once, she demands. But she declines. Vivian decides to leave after Madeleine rejects her multiple times. But not earlier. When Madeleine vanishes, she says she will use the bathroom. Vivian shifts her direction and climbs more covertly. She acknowledges Vivian is lingering in the bathroom and enters Grace's room to find her dozing in her bunk. Madeleine screams for her and can hear Grace's room creaking as she does so. When rushing into the room, she rapidly takes action to find her child who has gone missing during this period. Vivian has discovered a way to enter the bathroom covertly. As she discovers Dr. Richard's body inside, she is horrified and decides to obtain a mallet to defend herself. Grace follows her as she carefully descends the stairs, separating herself from Madeleine. What do you think where her child went? Let us know in the comment section. Madeleine discovers her despite her valiant efforts to dissuade her from saying that Grace is remarkable. She also desires amazing meals. Vivian hits Madeleine with a hammer when she tries to get her kid. Out of the blue, as Patricia arrived, she overheard some unusual commotion inside. Vivian accidentally knocks Madeleine on the head with the hammer during their argument, rendering her unconscious just as she was supposed to deal with look at her condition. Vivian is killed when Madeleine awakens and eats a lump from her neck. Vivian and Madeleine are on the floor when Patricia eventually enters the home. She makes the decision to remove Madeleine and Grace from the area at that moment. Patricia is seen in the last image maneuvering a camper through the arid landscape. She walks over to the other side and picks up Madeleine and Grace, who appear to be very much alive. The two women have new hairstyles and have all the makings of becoming distinctive. Patricia asserts that clinical evaluations have shown Grace to be as reliable as she seems. As long as Madeleine follows the correct diet and nutrition, she also advises that they may keep caring for and raising Grace. Nevertheless, Madeleine is focused on a different issue. She informs Patricia that Grace has now matured and is now the target of jokes. She then pulls her top down, exposing her damaged breast. It concludes the summary and demonstrates that the youngster has started consuming human flesh. What do you think about it? Please leave a remark and consider subscribing for additional updates. Thank you. So guys, that's it for today. Check out this video on the screen to watch this amazing movie recap. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell icon to never miss any exciting movie recaps.